microphone off. So he can introduce our guest.
Thank you very much. I've been honored to introduce, what's your name?
Shorty.
Sure. I'm honored to introduce Gayland, Kitch, that's what it's name. Gayland, I've known him, I don't know, 40 years, some 80s, or somewhere in that range. Oh, long time. We were both better looking and all that good stuff back then. Gayland since then has become, very well known in the weather community. He guides the tornadoes to more, so he gets all of this good.
More down here than we did.
He got tired of them, he's getting ready to retire, so let him down south to us, but that's good. Gail's been great in the amateur radio and the emergency management community. They just got done with a week down south and brought a tornado in for the event, right? Yeah, so yeah.
Actually, no, because I came home. You know, they had.
You bugged out.
Oh, okay, well, you got his job done and off he took off running with it. The really cool thing is he's adopted the digital Winlink capabilities, and now he's been running around the state trying to get all the emergency managers folks doing that stuff. So if you have not used Winlink, wake up. If you are using Winlink, you'll probably learn something here because I always do those kind of things. So Mr. Gayland Kitch, Whiskey X-Ray 5, Mike Oscar Romeo.
I'm M-O-R, Mike Oscar Romeo, as opposed to club call, which is N-O-R.
Close.
Okay, well, I wasn't going to apologize up front, but I'm going to anyway, now that Mark brought it up. As Mark said, I'm also the emergency manager for the city of Moore. It's what my real world is. And as such, and I'm on the board of directors for the Oklahoma Emergency Management Association. And we just got done with our conference yesterday at noon. So I've been out of town all week and probably haven't put as much into this presentation as I would like. So I'll just apologize up front. And hopefully if there's something pops up, you have a question that I don't know the answer to, or my brain dead state doesn't acknowledge, then hopefully we'll get somebody answer. So we're going to talk about Winlink. And Winlink is email via radio. And yeah, there's the fancy logo. Here is an email that I sent back almost a year ago now. It's from me to somebody at oklahomacity.gov, and I copied myself and somebody at the health department and another ham who is the president of the McCurtain County Amateur Radio Association. This was during the eclipse from last year, and it was passing data on the basic channel radio usage in the McCurtain County Emergency Operations Center. Big deal, right? Who cares? We do email. Everybody have one of these?
No.
For the most part, everybody have one of these? For the most part, does everybody do email on these?
Yeah.
So what the heck do we need that for?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there may be times, you know, amateurs are supposed to, what? We're there when everything else breaks, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, yeah, rah. You know, we're there when it breaks. And typically we always think in terms of voice communication. And you've heard me say before probably that there's going to have in the public safety world, which is, you know, the cops and the firemen and those folks. It used to be that, yeah, it didn't take much for their radio systems to break, because they only had one repeater, if that. And if it broke, they're going, oh my gosh, what do I do? And I can tell you that was the case back when, where's Lycan? Where'd Jeff go? He's here somewhere. Anyway, there he is, right in front of me. Jeff and I were dispatchers 400 years ago. I don't know, Norman probably had two cop repeaters, right? Maybe a fire repeater. In Moore, I had one cop repeater, one direct channel, and fire department direct. If my repeater broke, that was it. So amateurs may have had a role in voice communications and backing that up. In today's world, we do the comms people in the public safety world for the most part, particularly in the larger areas. We operate on PACE, primary, contingency and emergency, which means that me. We have communication. But we have a secondary, an alternate, that's the A. We have a contingency. There's gonna have to be a whole lot of things break on Norman's radio system for them to be completely out of communications. There's gonna have to be a whole lot of things break on the state system, which is what we use and more, for voice communications to go down. I mean, a whole lot of things. There's a state system site on top of one of my water towers, and below it, it has 17 repeaters inside. Oh yeah, it's a trunk system, you know, they all work together. And it's connected to DPS, and then DPS is connected to the core in Tulsa, and then it comes back. So yeah, you know, you could get a fiber cut. Okay, well, we go to the alternate. The alternate is the tower will work by itself. And you still have 17 repeaters. It's gonna take a whole lot to take out 17 repeaters. How about a power failure? Well, got a backup generator on it that's tested every once in a while. How about the connectivity? Yeah, the fiber cut will get us, but again, it goes into a fail-safe mode. My whole point here is that you're probably not going to be used for backing up police fire communications, public safety communications. There may be roles with our non-governmental agencies, Red Cross, Salvation Army, all of the alphabet soup people that come to town when things go wrong. But you know, of course, they think these are it. They don't understand that towers can go down. Let's think about McCurtain County for a minute. This example that I have up here. McCurtain County, largest county, one of the largest counties in Oklahoma. There ain't nothing there except trees and chickens. And Bigfoot, maybe. Nothing there, not much there. And yes, Ho Chi Town is coming up, the Broken Bow area, big tourism stuff. But their infrastructure is lagging. And it's very difficult down there because it's mountain. The reason there's trees is because it's mountain. So the terrain is very difficult. The infrastructure is very difficult. And they do have cellular down there, a couple of towers. But what happens if one of those towers goes down? It's not like here in the metro, there's cell towers everywhere. One of them dies. Okay, so what? Kind of like our state radio system. So what happens if something comes along and takes out my water tower and all those 17 repeaters? Well, it's not as good, but we can hit the tower at DPS. We can hit the tower out at 240 in Anderson. Some of our radios are fixed where they'll talk on the Norman system and the Oklahoma City system.
All of them are, aren't they?
No, well, no. I don't want to get into how the public safety system is built. It's a different conversation. But the point is that, yeah, maybe my police officers and firefighters can't talk inside the building now, but they can still talk. And the cell system is that way here too. Not so much in rural Oklahoma, where you may be served by one tower. What happens if that tower dies? And it's not something that the cops can fix, or the firemen can fix, or the city can fix, or the county can fix. Because it's all private vendor. It's AT&T, AT&T FirstNet, it's Verizon, it's T-Mobile. All the vendors. Back to McCurtain County. Last April. Total solar eclipse. And the population of McCurtain County, there was the population of McCurtain County is somewhere around 35,000. There was expectation that people coming from all over the world to see the total solar eclipse occur, because the path of totality went right over Idabel. So you got 4 minutes and however many seconds of total darkness. People came from all over the world, or thought were coming. And it was expected perhaps, and this is on a Monday, by the way. So you have everybody drifting in, starting the weekend, right?
Mhm.
Let's go party. Let's go look for Sasquatch. You're in the right place. Why not? What else you gotta do? But their population was expected to go from 35,000 to maybe 250,000. Do you think their infrastructure can handle that? No. What happens if the one cell tower goes down? Or by the way, is it designed, how many people is that tower designed to support?
Not that many.
Not that many. You're right. Yes, they have surge capacity. Yes, it's built for more than, but it ain't built for, 10 or 15 or 20 times the amount of people. So, that being the case, what's gonna happen to these? They're gonna become a paperweight. Does this distinguish between whether you're a tourist coming in from Australia or whether you're the sheriff of McCurtain County? No. So do you think the sheriff of McCurtain County probably had a need to be able to talk and pass written documents? Well, talking. McCurtain County Amateur Radio Club is a pretty solid club. They got it going on. And they've got 2 or 3 or 4 different repeaters, and they tested direct, and they had the voice side down cold. What about data? What if there had been 250,000 people show up in McCurtain County and we had a little baby hailstorm? One that you and I would normally yawn about, right?
Yeah, we're used to this.
And the people in McCurtain County who live there would have yawned too. But you've got 200,000 people that don't understand that little hailstone. Oh, and by the way, where were these people going to stay? You think there's 250,000 hotel rooms in McCurtain County? We pulled it. I went to support them on the communication side. We pulled a travel trailer down. Because we couldn't get a hotel room. And if we could have gotten one, it would have been $1,000 a night. Why not? Supply demand. So you have all these people and you've overloaded the system and you have a little baby hailstorm that doesn't amount to anything because these people are living in tents. They rented out a spot in Billy Bob's pasture. The one clear spot in the county. Again, it's all trees. Can you imagine needing to shelter those people, needing to provide ambulance service, all of these things, and all of a sudden there's this need because we are ingrained with data. It's all about data. It's all about information. That's a really long-winded way of saying, how about if we can pass email via our radio and bypass the regular cellular system. That'd be pretty cool. We can do it right here. So this is something called Winlink. It's a network of amateur radio stations that can provide email via radio. And you do not have to have internet availability to start with. There's an internet piece in it. But and in fact, you don't even have to have that. If you're going, you can go peer to peer. Again, it's network, amateur radio stations that can pass email via radio. Built, operated, administered by licensed hands. Uses amateur, government can use it, some, I think, if you're familiar with shares, I think the shares folks use it. Oh, here's how it's put together. Where's the laser pointer or something? Cause I forgot to bring mine. So, starts local stations, just like this, computer, radio. Got it. Yeah. When it is Denny, huh? Denny, does your dog chase laser pointers kind of like what cats do? Never mind. Okay, so you've got your local station. And then you have remote stations. And then you have the big stations. So the easiest way to say this is our buddy Larry here has a server station, one of these. And if my radio can find his station, then all of a sudden, I'm out of the immediate area. And therefore, maybe the internet is up. It goes into a large servers to collection station and then gets rerouted. So at least on the initial hop, you're bypassing the internet. By the way, his is VHF 145.03. This will operate also on HF. We sat at my command post in a remote parking lot. Anybody know where Wapaw is? Anybody ever been to the casino and resort there? Okay, for those of you who don't, if you go up I-44, as far northeast in Oklahoma as you physically can get, there's a casino on the south side of the Oklahoma-Kansas border, Oklahoma. If you go into the parking lot, you're in Kansas. You get to it from I-44, exit 1 in Missouri. There's a place on the property that you can stand in all 3 states. Literally. So that's, you find where the point of Oklahoma is, and that's where this is. And we were running communications drills, a whole bunch of comms folks there. Vehicles, like, if you've never seen I have a big truck that has all sorts of radios and command stuff and communications. And we were running not via the Wi-Fi from the casino, because we're out in the far reach of the parking lot. The parking lot's a little way, it's a little bit of a hike from where we were. Out of Wi-Fi range, running that via HF into a server that was in Colorado, which then puts us into the internet, and we were passing email back and forth. It's kind of cool. So that kind of gives you the general idea of what's going on here. There's all sorts of other stuff here, but the important part is you have a local station, an RMS station, and then the big collection type servers. What do you have to do all this? I am not going to get into the weeds today unless you just really want it. And I'm not gonna get into the weeds because everybody's radios and computers are different. We could talk about ports and plugs and USBs and sound cards all day, and we'd still miss somebody.
Elmer Knight's a great way.
Yeah, whatever. Yes, if you need a specific help, yes, but first of all, you gotta have some software. Winlink Express is the preferred one. You find it at winlink.org and then go to downloads and use the programs, and eventually you'll find the link that says Winlink Express install. By the way, you may see it somewhere as RMS Express or RMS something. That's the older version. It's got a new name. And when you install that, the main screen looks something like this right here. Looks like most software that you've ever seen. They like for you to register the software. You don't have to. If you register, you get a little digital key that says you've got a registered one. Of course, it helps. A little bit of registration will help the foundation that does all of this. If you do that, it is tied to your call sign. And obviously your registration key can't be transferred to somebody else. If you get a new call, they can fix that. Registration key doesn't expire, and again, it's $24. That's one piece you gotta have. When you do that, you bring up the software, go into the settings. Right here, go into the settings, and it'll bring up this screen. And you put your call sign in, make a password, and give some information, and so on, and get an account. That way, Winlink knows who you are. And yes, I redacted my registration key, so you can't steal mine. What else do you need? Well, obviously, you need a computer of some sort. And some way to connect the two. Radio, computer. You guys do that all the time. How many of y'all in here play with FTA? How many of y'all have your computer connected to your radio, a radio somewhere? Yeah, that's all it is. That's the part I'm not going to get into. No, I have 2 or 3 different radios, and I use this computer, my desktop at home, in my office, 2 or 3 in the office, and 1 in the big truck. And I can assure you, every time I do, I have to fool around. Okay, which board is this one hooked to today? Which computer, which radio? Oh yeah, if I'm on the 705 and laptop. So we're not going to get into that. You all know how to, those of you who have a computer and have a radio know how to hook them together and make them work. So you obviously, the one piece you got to have somewhere in there is the sound card, whether it's built into your radio, like on this one, whether it's a signal link. I think the signal links have to be fairly, well, not old, let's put it that way. I think if you bought a signal link since 2018 or something like that.
Did you, Ray?
It'll handle it. But the point is, you got a really old one that you bought 20 years
If you
ago.
can do FT8, can you do this?
If you can do FT8, you can do this.
Okay.
And you can see some of the different protocols that it'll handle. It'll do packet, it'll do Pactor, it'll do some other stuff. Most of the people running this nowadays are doing it off Vera. And you notice there's a Vera HF, there's Vera FM. Technicians, yes, you can do this. Extras, yes, you can do this. Doesn't matter. You see the radio and computer there, and again, I apologize, that was taken in my hotel room in Durant this week. Talk a little bit about Vera. Pardon me. Vera is a low, a weak signal, high quality protocol. You can get to Vera, the software, again, there's an FM version, there's an HF version, I think there's a satellite version. You can get to that off the Winlink webpage, which I had up earlier, but if you missed it, it's winlink.org. You install that. You can get this, when you bring all of this up, you've got about 4 different screens of it. Some couple of things, again, it's FM and HF. A couple modes of it, different speeds. You can use Vera without paying for it. You don't get the full speed version that way. And if you pay a one-time fee of, what is it, $70 or something like that, you get the faster version. Or it unlocks the faster version, I should say. Like most things that involve sound cards and computers and radios, you have to play with the sound card a little bit. But again, here's all you need. Computer, some sort of sound card, whether it's built in or whether it's in a radio and an antenna. Again, there's setup that you see here. What do I have? I have a radio that has a sound card in it. I've got a computer, and those of you who came in a little bit later probably saw the antenna sitting outside. Normally, something like this would work. Yes, I'm CommSky. I picked the antenna, bought the antenna. And who knew? Yeah, that'll work. It doesn't work in this side, in this room. Which is why we had to go with the extra line. But that's all it takes. Yeah, I can't figure it out because I got something in it. But I brought all this in a little Craftsman bag in my backpack. That's all it takes. Let's look at the software a little bit. Bring the software up, and the first thing you're gonna want to know is what protocol are you using? Are you using Vera FM? Are you using Vera HF? Are you going peer-to-peer? Radio to radio. Are you using Factor or whatever? Select that up. And you tell it to start a session. By the way, the software, if you hover over the little icons, it'll tell you what they are. Because I assure you, you will forget. Or maybe that's just an Alzheimer's thing with me. So you press start, and it will launch a session. This is the Vera FM Winlink session. It launched, it's successfully connected to a TNC, it's ready, and this is the registered version, so it'll operate at full speed. And we're ready to go. Kind of. It also brings up the Vera FM screen. And it shows all sorts of information that you need. You'll have some settings to deal with. Again, hooking your computer and the radio together. All right, so we've got all that done. Let's make a message. That's what we're supposed to be doing here, right? It's making a message. Up in the top left corner, new message. You can see that where I had the cursor hovering over the icon right there, and it says new message. Let's make a message. When you tell it to make a new message, it comes up with the screen. It's like your regular email programs, right? Who are you going to send it to? Do you want to copy somebody? What's the subject? What are you going to say? This one, and you can Just like your regular email programs, you can have a contact list, whether it is somebody's call sign or whether it's a regular email address, typical email address. You'll see that here in just a minute. So here's one I sent this morning from WX5MOR, and I sent it to the email address Center Crusader 1 at SBC Global. Good morning from me. Notice it gives my location. Notice a grid square. That's something set, by the way. All right, we haven't sent the message yet, though. All we did back here, it's ready, and we have one. When you get ready to send it, excuse me, when you get your email made, you want to post it to your outbox. That's this up here in the corner. And then it goes to goes to the outbox. Gee, just like your regular email, it's got an inbox and red items and graphs and so on. Now we're ready to hit the let's send this button. In this world, it's called start. Right there, the start button. And when you do that, then you have to tell it your channel selection. This is the FM version, by the way. I'll show you most of my examples will be on the FM version. When you bring it up, you can hit channel selection and it will figure out on its own who all's close. And you can see from my home this morning, a server, W5DRO, Dawn OC up in Home City's got one on one of the buildings downtown. It's on 145.04. It's 13 miles from my house, bearing 339. There's Larry's, W5LHG, it's on 03. It's 18 miles. Next one closer is in the Tulsa Broken Arrow area. Jeff Scoville's got a couple up there, and then you can see more on down. Can you pick one of those? Make sure your radio is on the right frequency. And when you're ready, you hit the go button. When you do that, first of all, it'll come up and it wants to make sure that it can hear or can find that server. We had some issues this morning using the mag mount. It couldn't find either Larry's or Don's. Room sucks, right? We all know that. Got the outside antenna, all of a sudden, it's finding W5LHG. And once it finds it, we told it to send, so it sent that message. Here it shows that it completed. It sent one message, and that was the end of my session. Sent one message, didn't receive any, there weren't any way, and it disconnected. My session was 0.4 of a minute. I will warn you. You can make attachments, you can send pictures, you can do all sorts of fun stuff. Just remember file size here and transmit it on your radios, particularly if you're going HF. You're going HF and you're on 80 or 75 and it's fairly slow, yeah, and you're trying to send a 3 meg picture. Yeah, you'll be doing it this time tomorrow too. But my session time here, sending that one little message you saw that didn't really say too much, is 21 seconds. And here's what it looks like on the other end. This is my regular email that sits on my desk at home and my Yahoo account or my AT&T account. And it shows that I have a message here from WX5MOR at winlink.org. And subject's Winlink test. And if you bring it up, whoops, was there? Never mind. Down here, the second screen down here, when I actually pulled that message up, there's what it looks like. Got a cool little feature here. When you go to build your message, this is the screen where you build your message, right? We saw that before. You have an option for selected template. And you can bring up a form and fill out the form. How many of you all are either playing or looking on your Oxcom stuff right now? I know there's some of you in here. So you know about ICS forms, right? Instant Command System forms. I'm not going to teach you ICS, I promise. And I didn't bring enough notes and neither did you.
Yeah.
How much coffee do we have? But in the public safety world, we like to use forms. We have to use forms because we have to document what we're doing. We have to be able, after the California wildfires, the LA wildfires, how many millions of dollars do you think they spent in fighting those fires? Hold on. I can't imagine the tankers they brought. Yes, the air tankers they brought in. Sorry, their terminology is different from mine. The air tankers they brought in, like the converted DC-10s. How much do you think those cost per run? Yeah, a lot. How about all of the task force firefighters they brought in from all over? Do you think you need to document all of that? Because somebody's got to pay for it, right? And the expectation would normally be that hopefully we get a federal disaster declaration and feds come in and reimburse you for that. How many $1 million do you think FEMA gave the city of Moore after one of our F5 tornadoes? Several million. Do you think, does the government just come in and go, oh, here's your check. What'd you say you need, Gayland? Yeah, how about 5.2 million? Okay, here you go. Is it that easy? How many of y'all have a military background? Is it that easy?
No.
No, you're dealing with federal government. Hopefully you guys can see this. This is an ICS form. It's a ICS 213, which is just a general message. And it looks just like my paper ICS forms in my office or my electronic version that you can download at FEMA.gov. Says it's an ICS 213, so it's got a header. It tells who it's going to, who it's from, the subject, date and time, what the message is, who's approved that message and their title and other stuff. This is a fillable form on Winlink. If you bring up, there's a list of forms. You see there's ICS USA forms, and somewhere down here, there's the general message form. There it is. So you fill it out. I made this up this morning. Hopefully the spelling's correct. There's the name of the incident. That could just as easily be the LA County wildfire. This one is going to the Southeast Oklahoma Regional Coordination Center. They had an email. It's from the communications unit leader. Winlink test from McCurtain County. There's the date and time. It fills that in for you automatically if you don't change it, by the way. I had a heck of a time keeping it from putting in 2025 for the 308 this morning. there's the message, there's who it's approved by. And you can say the initial data if you want, or you submit it. When you submit it, by the way, it brings this form up in just a regular old internet browser. Your Chrome or whatever you're using. When you say submit, it closes out, it puts it over into Winlink. And you go through the start a session, send the message, it goes from me to Larry's to wherever whichever cloud server it went to comes back into regular old email. And this is what it looks like. In theory, I could download the form and it would populate the form, so I'd have a pretty looking form. I didn't choose to do that this morning, but it's possible. So, how do you know where all these servers are at? Locally, it's pretty easy because is there 3 now? Did I hear somebody put a new one up?
I'm not sure.
I thought I heard somebody put up an 05 one somewhere. But really, there's 2. There's his, there's one downtown on FM. How in the world do you figure out on HF? Vera FM or Vera HF looks a whole lot like the FM version. But it has an option when you go to select your channel. And you can download this either via regular internet, if you have it handy, or you can go via radio. You can update this via radio. It will figure out where you're at. Well, it knows where you're at. And it will, based on propagation, based on its list of people that have servers, they'll tell you which one it thinks you'll do best trying. So that one's on 3596 and a half. That also is up in the open area. It's just Scoville. You don't know the call. It thinks it's pretty reliable on the path and the quality is pretty good too. In fact, these were all green. If it gets down where it doesn't think you're going to do very good, it'll turn it red. Or if you don't have 75, look, there's 40. And this was early this morning. So what bands are typically good in the morning? Down low, right? Gets a little more sun up. Some of the higher bands will come in. This is no doubt change. Maybe we won't be able to look at it. Maybe we'll try or not. So anyway, this is how we figured out when we were up at Quad and Command Post. Well, hey, look, the top one here looks like it's not busy. Looks like it's in Colorado. Let's try it. We got a message from us in the truck in Quapaw, Oklahoma, which is right by Missouri and Kansas, all the way to Colorado and then back through the system. Okay, so let's try something here. This may or may not work well, but we'll try it anyway. We are live. That is not PowerPoint. That is this radio right here. And I have the main program up. Oh, look, I have a message. Ben Curry, if you're there, hello. This came in while we've been sitting here from KJ5IEV, who's probably up in the Edmond area. And so I've received a message because it's connected to Larry's server. It checks I've got it set where it checks for messages every 10 or 15 minutes, whatever it is, one of your settings. And we actually, this is a live message that I received this morning at 1549 UTC, half hour ago, it looks like. Over here is a list of contacts that I've put in. You'll notice some of them are amateur radio call signs. A5KD, there's Ed, Agent 5DB, Mark down here, so a bunch of them. And some of them are people at work. That's my assistant city manager. I need to get rid of that one. That was my fire chief that retired a week ago. So again, it will do regular email or normal email address, or it'll go direct through the Winlink system to hams if you. Over here are my Vera screens. There's one that shows that we could connect to Larry, and there's some of the Vera fancy stuff. Let's see if we can connect. So I'm gonna press start. You can see where I'm at over here. I already have. We press start. Okay, so it's connected to RMS. It's connected to W5MOR. Okay, Winlink Express. Oh. And I have an incoming message. It's from N5H.R. at winlink.org. Let's download it. We can either hold on to it or we can download it, whichever we choose to do. We'll download it. Download that check message. And so what it was doing here was it was looking to see if there was an email waiting for me. As I log on, it says, oh, you have a message. And here it has completed that. And we didn't send any messages, but we received one and we disconnected. And our session time was 50 seconds. And now over here on the regular Winlink screen, it should show that we have one unread message in the inbox. And you can see right here, we have an unread message. Is this still looking like regular email? Pretty close, isn't it? And so we come over here and we can click. And there's the message we received, which shows that there's an ID number and the date and time. It's in UTC, by the way. From N5HCR and WX5MOR. The source is in, and here it is. Greetings from the northeast corner of the room. Hello, and don't forget to play HAMWOR. Should have known. They give you an idea of what's going on here. I'm going to switch out of here just real quick. Maybe nothing is real quick. We're going to change over. You notice I'm on Vera FM Winlink, and we're going to change that over maybe to Vera HF. I'm going to start a session. Okay, so it's launching Vera. So I'm using an ICOM 705 on COM 410 at 9600 baud. It's registered and operates regular speed. And at the moment, I am centered on my dial frequencies 10.140. Now, I'm not going to transmit anything because I don't have an HF antenna hooked up. Now, you notice there is a little waterfall going on. You can kind of look at your signal, see what's coming in. But what I do want to show you is the channel selection. whole lot of red there, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, but look at the
We're gonna update that via the internet. That's part of the one. Okay, so it's updating RMS channel propagation indices for every one of the stations that it has. This will take, I don't know, what, 15, 20 seconds, maybe. Won't be long.
What would it take at the slower speed, the non-paid version?
Well, this right now is via internet.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah.
You can update via radio. That option, but I chose to do it via the internet since I don't have an antenna like that.
Mhm.
And there's what it came up with. It actually had updated that list when I can make this a little larger. It's not going to get any better because obviously I don't have an antenna with that. So anyway, that's the side of it. The honest truth is, there's a whole lot you can do with this. It's kind of fun to play with. And it definitely, if you're out doing POTA, you can send email via radio. Certainly has implications for emergency communications. So you Oxcom folks, or emergency communications folks, wonderful tool. Wonderful tool. I had this, as I said, I had this live in the Burton County Emergency Operations Center in case the regular email and internet died. We could, from down there, we could go either direction. Actually, I could go FM or HF down there because they don't have an FM server in the area. But that's okay. We can get it to, we can get to Broken Arrow via propagation. If we can get long distance, we could. So at this point, I'm going to stop. Questions? Oh my gosh. Jeff.
If the answers to these take too long, just tell me, and we can talk about it later. I noticed on the servers, some of them use narrow, some use wide. Why is that on the ham bands?
It's the way the servers are, or the radios are set up, the gateways are set up.
Does the software go ahead and,
No, that's one of the settings in Vera that you can tell it.
Depends on the host radio. It may or may not have 9600 baud available.
The problem with me in settings is I have to hunt for the right. Anyway, I'm not gonna find it, just right off. And my screen gets screwed up. Anyway, stuff.
that's all right.
Anyway,
I'll throw the other question at you. Zones, what if you want to limit your traffic? You want to set up a zone so that if you send a message out, it goes to a zone that's pre-selected by you, the operator. You can, how do you do that?
well, you're not blasting, you're looking for a particular person.
Right.
So I would send a message, I would send an email from me to N780G.
What if I want to send it to a zone of people because we're working a mass?
Then you just like your normal email, you set up group. Or you, I think the initial one, let's see if I can get back. If I get back from the PowerPoint. The one message that you saw right on the very beginning screen. Funny. Yeah, you can't see this from out there, but this is, email is sent to John Love at oklahomacity.gov,
Mhm.
but it's copied to that person, Lizzie Woods at the health department, W5CBW. And so you can set groups like that.
Okay. All right.
So,
Is there a particular operating system that offers more feature ability than any other operating system?
you know, I tried to look and I don't, I think this is all Windows based. Have you ever seen
It is
a Mac version somewhere?
It is all Windows based. There are options. One of them is called PAT, PAT, that is available for Linux. which you can run then on one of the brute machines. The Vera FM stuff is typically all Windows based, that portion of it there. Name is Winlink, and they are paying that direction. Others use, I use the patch software, and it works fine, it's just not as graphical.
Have you used it on Starlink?
Yeah,
And does the system cache?
I've actually used it, I've gone peer to peer between two Arden stations.
Does the system cache the message for so long, then return it as undeliverable, or does it even do that?
It will hang on to it, and I assume that whenever you log in, it will, in fact, the Tulsa people, Tulsa areas people do. Wife and kids, you know. The Tulsa areas people have a Winlink net every week. It's based around Thursday night. And I hadn't been in it since Christmas, and I hadn't had my Winlink up in a month or two. And I got all the messages from back then. I suspect it probably goes away after a while.
Winlink will shut it down if you do not use it in 400 days.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, okay, a little over here. I saw, yes,
It's, what, the channel selector, is it based on location or propagation? I didn't really understand it.
on the HF side, you put your coordinates in, that's a setting. And then based on that, it looks at propagation. And it goes through every one of the servers that it knows about, which would be all of them, you have to know that. But it goes through all of those and figures out what the propagation is currently between you and that.
He's answered both.
And you kind of briefly talked about the Tulsa Areas Group as a weekly net. There's also several others that happen. Winlink Wednesday is a good one just to practice guess what day it is. And it's a real simple deal. You just go out to a particular guy's email address. I can give it to our his call sign. And typically it's just your call name, your call sign, your name, your location, and that kind of stuff. But it's a good way to just make sure your radio is working, your interface is working, and so on. There's one in the Great Lakes area that's a weekly deal. Sometime during the week, you can send a message to them and reply back to you. And then, of course, our favorite one here in Norman is Gayland, and that's a fun kind of a deal. You don't really have to go over the radio to do it. You can use the telnet kind of a connection. But it's a fun thing to do as well.
Other questions? Very good. Well, thank you. Hopefully this wasn't too disjointed of a presentation. And there's far more facets. I mean, we can talk for hours about it. We won't. We won't, I promise.
Thank you, Gayland. Let's take 5 minutes and be back, or 10 minutes. Be back in here by that clock.